What is up, folks? Greetings and happy Friday. Welcome to yet another installment of the Viewer's Choice versus Fighting Game Friday Night bonus stream, as funded by means of fight tax by you, the community. Welcome, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. I am currently in the midst of attempting to cope with the very warm, sunny Swedish summer weather, which I've been waiting for about 10 to 11 months, and we're like a week into it and I'm already struggling, but that's fine. That's just the way I like it. The only problem is I'm still working. But in a few weeks I go on holiday, and it's going to be a delightful several weeks of doing fuck all and just enjoying life. Lamazar, thank you very much for 3 years of horror. The degree of how unspeakable it is up for debate, apparently, but I think we can go more unspeakable. Thank you very much. However, please enjoy your brand new flaming skull. Dana Chrysalis with the raid. Welcome, raiders, and thank you, Dana, for the raid. Appreciate it. Who's already tuning into this nonsense? Who we got here? Itinerant Soldier, Space Hovercopter, Ushi84, Lamasar, of course, Odd Model, Lelouch Hero, Dana, of course. We got Nightbot, Samine666, everybody else, lurkers in chat, VOD viewers, etc. Happy Friday to one, happy Friday to all. Still just as unspeakable, the level of unspeakability. Flat curve. Fair enough, fair enough. Will that change tonight? I don't know. I think the fate of the unspeakability of horror lies within your hands. Because what we are doing tonight, as we do every time we reach the funding goal for the community challenge. I say funding as if I'm making any money off of this. I'm certainly not. But you're donating your hard-earned con coins on this, because what else are you going to spend it on? And you know, once we reach our goal, we end in one of these into the schedule. And what is one of these, you might be asking? If you're new here, we do these occasional Viewer's Choice versus Fighting Game streams. As some of you may have noticed, you can type !VS in chat. You will thus be linked to the official spreadsheet detailing the games available to be chosen by you, the viewer. Lariah, greetings, greetings. We will do a raffle in which subscribers, as part of the Unspeakable Horror package, do get preferential treatment with increased luck. Winner of the raffle will get to pick the next game from the list. We will boot it up. We'll attempt usually a playthrough of the arcade mode or equivalent, but depending on what it is, we might go a little deeper, we might give up. But we typically spend between 30 minutes and an hour with each game. We typically get through roughly 4 to 6 games per stream, and we have currently played 202 out of 296 games. That puts it at 68.24%. Those goalposts are, however, ever shifting as I keep adding more games to my collection. I'm sure there's some things on here which we should probably just strike from the list at some point. We have a couple of ineligible games due to some hardware unreliability, let's call it. Let's turn in these jams. They're getting very excited here. I would like to add, speaking of ineligible, English. I can speak it, I promise. On the topic of ineligibility, I still haven't necessarily set up everything to play all these arcade games on my current computer. So basically anything on the arcade category is probably going to be off limits, but feel free to request anything that's on the list if it's your turn. And if it's something that I'm not currently capable of playing, then you'll get your choice of whatever else. I'm also reminded that there's a couple of games on here that we played over 3 years ago on a fateful stream where the recording was lost because I, at the time, was hospitalized and did not have the ability to save the archive before it expired. And as such, because the recordings of those games had been lost to time, I figured we can open them back up for eligibility. But they're kind of, you'll see them on the list. Anything that's not marked in red with a YouTube link, etc., it's fair game. It's fair game. Laura, keep that choice in your back pocket. If you win a raffle, you will get to pick it. But until then, it's anybody's guess who will get to pick. But on that note, it's definitely not a bad idea to have a pick in your back pocket. It'll make things progress nice and smooth once we get to the game choosing part of the stream. Have I ever played the masterpiece Star Wars Masters of Terraskesi? Of course I have. Of course I have. I played fighting games in the 90s, and I was into Star Wars at the time. Of course I have. Have I played it within the last 20 to 25 years? Probably not. Probably not. It is on my list of things to pick up at some point. I do believe I looked into it, and there is a Japanese release of it, unless I'm mistaken. But it's probably not dirt cheap enough for me to have justified picking it up. I haven't really been buying a lot of games for the past several months, which is not a bad thing. I've got more than enough shit back there to keep me occupied for the rest of my life and probably a few more lifetimes. But who knows? Whenever summer rolls around, I tend to find myself in a shopping kind of mood. So maybe we'll do another box of stuff from Japan within the next month or two. Trying to recall when the last one. I'm honestly not sure if I ever did one this year even. Oh, like I said, there's no shortage of stuff to play, and there's like so much new stuff nowadays that I'm actually interested in, which isn't always the case. We've got Street Fighter 6 and Mortal Kombat 1, obviously, but I'm very excited for the new Prince of Persia as well. And I'm sure there's 50 other things that I keep forgetting. The new Double Dragon, of course, is coming out as well. I don't know, video games. Thankfully, we don't have to worry too much about new stuff or whatever. We just have this list. In fact, I don't even have to think about too much of anything. I'm just gonna, you know, turn on this raffle thing. It'll tell me who wins, and whoever wins tells me what to play, and we go from there, pretty much. But yeah, that's pretty much the long and short of it. Once we get going, I will be enabling a channel point reward, which will allow anyone to skip the line and just pick the next game for a certain fee. But I like to keep things as fair as we can and start things off with a traditional raffle. Trying to think if there's any other important housekeeping, but I don't really think so. I think we're in the interest of actually getting to playing some games. We should probably just get going. What do you guys say? So let me just see here. Oh yeah, I gotta actually get my bot set up to actually do this. So give me a minute here, and we will prepare the first raffle. I think that is pretty much set up. I'm sure there's some like capture stuff that I'm going to be completely caught off guard by, because I didn't I basically finished eating dinner about 2 minutes before going live. So I didn't have any time to look at any of this stuff, but I just trust that I have this stuff set up properly. Let's see if that pays off or not. But yeah, I think we're good. So the raffle is live. You now type the word raffle in chat. Engage your rigging protocols. Add some exclamation mark before or after the word raffle if it makes you feel better. And whoever manages to type raffle correctly will be entered into the drawing. And in about a minute and a half, we will pick a winner who gets to select the first game of the evening. Typing raffle multiple times with or without multiple spellings will in fact not affect your degree of eligibility, but you know, it can't hurt. Can't hurt. We'll see, Lamasar, how that pays off. But yeah, I guess that's about it. I'm always in trepidation, let's call it, over what gets picked. Just had to get it right once. That's all. Once is all you need. Once is, in fact, all you need. We've had some powerful riggers in our midst in the past. Some people with impeccable technique. Some people with terrible luck. Some people somewhere in between. I can confirm that anyone who has attempted to enter the raffle has done so successfully. So no need to worry. No need to worry. But hey, like I said, nothing wrong with hedging your bets. Last call. Type raffle in chat if you want to have a choice, have the chance rather, to make a choice for the first game of the evening. What will it be? Let's go. Ba-boom! Dark Witch Claire. Congratulations. Lamasar, I'm afraid your raffle rigging technique needs a little bit of work, but hang in there. You'll get it. You'll get it. Dark Witch Claire, is it going to be? Virtua Fighter 4. Cool. Yes, we can do that. We can do that. Let me just remember how to stream and play video games. I think we'll be okay. What's my PS2 memory card situation? I don't know. We'll figure it out. Probably the right. Have a PS2 memory card in there. That'll probably do. Let's get the capture situation. So it's going to be that one. So actually doing some research. I was posting this on Discord. I have a CRT sitting here on my desk that I don't use because I don't have a setup that allows for simultaneous broadcasting of a video signal to the CRT as well as capturing it. And for a while there were some SCART splitters and stuff that you could buy, but then the pandemic happened and then you couldn't buy them anymore. And I kind of didn't pay too close attention to that kind of stuff. But as it turns out, those things are actually kind of available now. This one. And aside from the potential ordeal of everything that's going to need readjusting and moving around physically and otherwise, or new setup stuff, which is always like a bit of a hassle, it was an exciting thought that, like, hey, I can actually properly, finally, basically complete my setup as envisioned a few years ago. Yeah, I think this is the PS2 profile. Right, but we should... I don't know why this is always so utterly confusing. Or we have to do this to get the proper... Oh, whatever. There's stuff you can get. I don't know. I mean, I did do a bunch of research into this, but it was like several years ago, so I don't have everything not everything is like fresh in my mind or anything, but I know what are they called? Lotharek, I think, guy in Poland doing these the Hydra splitters, which look pretty slick, because they have like 8 inputs and 2 outputs. Well, there's multiple models, but the one I've been eyeing is like 8 inputs, 2 outputs. Like, it certainly does have a lot of features that I don't necessarily need, but it's also very nice to be able to have an all-in-one solution, because right now I have a 3 input switch, and I have more than 3 devices, so I still have to move cables around. And if I'm gonna pay for a splitter, I would rather replace the switch that I have than add additional devices to the chain. So the paying a bit extra for one of those that's a little bit fancier, it's not, the price isn't what's kind of keeping me away for it. But honestly, I suppose to a degree it's also a matter of hey, now that I'm having this idea to look into this, maybe I should do a little bit more actual research and make sure that I get what I want and get what I need. Let's see here. Sure, yes, there we go. Yeah, do I have... Oh. Yep. Let me fix the details on the layout here. There we go. So this game I have legitimately barely played. I was a fan of Virtua Fighter going back to VF2, but I didn't really necessarily get to play it, but I just always thought it was cool, and I was a big Sega fan. And the first VF that I properly played was VF4 Evo. But when I was living in Japan, which was not long after that, honestly, I just picked this up for my collection. But it was not old enough to be interesting and not new enough to be current, so I didn't really play it. But hey, what a perfect excuse to play it right now. I wonder if anything is... Let me just double check something real quick. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. It's good enough. I can't be bothered. So I guess I don't have a save data on this memory card, but let's do it. I don't think I would have had anything... I don't think I have save data for this anywhere else, so... And we're not necessarily going to be bothering too much with quest modes and shit, so I think we'll be okay. It's not like we got a bunch of unlockable characters to worry about. How does VF4 differ from VF4 Evo? Well, I wouldn't be the right person to give you the detailed breakdown. But Evo is a pretty substantial update where the most obvious and immediately apparent difference is 2 new characters. And they also changed... trying to remember, because they added Brad, right? So they gave a bunch of Vanessa's moves to Brad in Evo. Memory serves. So I guess this is just FMV, and this looks pretty shitty. But yeah, I wonder if there's something with the resolution or some deinterlacing or something that's basically I wonder if I'm on the wrong profile that make it look worse, but I don't think that's actually the case. But in terms of system mechanics and stuff like that, I mean, I don't remember Virtua Fighter 4 Evo well enough to give you a detailed breakdown, and I never knew original VF4 enough to tell you the difference. So I honestly don't really know. But as far as the console ports go, yeah, it's got different modes, and I'm sure there's less customization stuff in this. Probably all the stages are a little bit different, if I had to guess. Because they tend to change time of day or lighting or music and stuff like that in between versions. But Evo was the second major revision, because it was Virtua Fighter 4 originally, obviously, and then after a couple of revisions, the they dropped VF4 Evo, which was like the big update.
Virtua Fighter 4.
And then, I don't know, a year maybe later, they dropped Virtua Fighter 4 Final Tuned. And Final Tuned never had a console release. But Final Tuned didn't have any new characters or any like obvious updates or changes or anything like that. It was more of a balance update, I guess. Like, there could be system mechanic changes, I actually wouldn't know. But it's one of those things where if you're not a serious player, you'd look at footage of both of them and you probably wouldn't tell the difference at a glance. But I can tell seeing this, like, wow, even this menu looks like utterly unfamiliar to me. Where I wouldn't remember strictly offhand what the Evo menu looks like, but I would at least recognize it if I saw it. Seeing this, I'm like, wow, this looks so foreign. What are my memories of Virtua Fighter? Like, when I grew up, I didn't really necessarily have access to arcades or arcade games, but there was like the one laser tag place where I would go hang out after school, but that wasn't till later. But they... and it was kind of like iffy at the time too, like you kind of weren't really... You weren't supposed to be allowed to be there before like 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. or something if you were under a certain age. Just like basically they didn't want school kids to be hanging out and like cutting class to go there. But they, you know, it was a little bit... they weren't always super strict on it. But I didn't, like, I don't know, I didn't really have... I never had like... I didn't really have an allowance, so I never had like pocket money, so I didn't have money to spend playing arcade games. But it was just kind of cool to hang out and watch. And they had at some point a Virtua Fighter 2 cabinet. But I would probably have seen and maybe even played Virtua Fighter just on the Saturn at like a toy store or something. But I didn't know anyone who had a Saturn or who had Virtua Fighter. So I'd really only dabbled very, very lightly from a distance. Like when some of my friends got a Dreamcast, and eventually I got one myself, but that wasn't until like 2001, 2002. We played Virtua Fighter 3 maybe, you know, a few times. But Virtua Fighter 3 TB on the Dreamcast, like, it had some pretty fucking stiff competition, especially if you weren't already a VF fan. Like, you put it up against Soul Calibur and Dead or Alive 2, and it's not going to come across as particularly impressive. Not that it's a bad game, but it is a game from 1996. You know, it was an old game by the time the Dreamcast came out. And it's just like, it doesn't really have the same level of spectacle as some of those other fighting games. So me and my friends, we played a lot of Soul Calibur, we played a lot of DOA 2. But we just didn't really play Virtua Fighter 3. So it wasn't until I got a PS2 in 2005 and I kind of decided that Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution was going to be like one of the games I really got into. Because in the interim, that's kind of when I, like in the early 2000s is kind of when I got a little bit more seriously into fighting games. I'd always loved fighting games. But like 2004, I think is like the first time I went to a tournament, is when I first started playing like Third Strike on Xbox Live. Started to try to learn a little bit more about actually playing games and getting better at them and going to like gatherings to play fighting games with other people. So I got VF4 Evo with my PS2 and tried to kind of get into that. And then I played VF5 off and on, but I rarely had like a community of people to play with, so I never really got into it like that hardcore. But I always really loved, like, especially from 4 onwards when I kind of got into understanding it more, the design of Virtua Fighter. Like, I think just the game design, the system mechanics, the elegance of the control scheme. There's like so many things that I think VF just kind of does better, or more to my tastes anyway, than so many other fighting games. So it's like definitely, like, despite not having maybe spent as much time with it as many other series, it's still like one of my favorite fighting game series. And like whenever there's other fighting games that I really like MK11, I feel like I can trace a lot of that back to, like, well, a lot of it's actually pretty similar to Virtua Fighter, so of course I like it. So that's my basic rundown of my experience and background with Virtua Fighter.
Options. Settings.
All right, let's make sure we have everything here set up in a normal way. So the controller, I guess I'm gonna do it. Yeah, the standard is not gonna make any sense regardless. Yeah, I'm gonna edit it. Okay, good. So L2, I want guard. L2 should be punch, and square should be kick. Pretty much all I need. So I do play on my Real Arcade PS, which of course does have the L1 and L2 on the far left. So you want to use those like far left, top left, whatever, 3 buttons. So it might seem absurd when you look at the options menu, but it makes sense for this joystick. All right, okay. We want to make sure that there's nothing here that we need to change. Like record. Oh, dude, hard disk drive support? That's pretty sick. I didn't know that.
Options.
Yeah, right. So this has, yeah, it doesn't have the quest mode. It's got the Kumite, which is kind of its equivalent.
Training.
Yeah, it's got,
Trial.
I guess, like moveless trial kind of stuff.
AI system.
Kind of interesting. Not sure what this is all about, the AI system.
Arcade.
But there we go. Let's, I guess, start the timer. Yeah, this is so funky, like the kind of uneven character select screen. So I guess if you hold start, yeah. So sick, you get like the full proper, like alternate render and artwork. These character renders are pretty dang good. I like a lot of them. I like that costume. A lot of these costumes were relatively similar in VF5. But some of them changed. I don't think Lei has this costume in 5. I think it's got like the green shirt and pants basically in for his 2-player. Yeah, and of course, it's so weird in VF4 Evolution, for whatever reason, due to Sega's infinite wisdom, Vanessa's costume in the overseas version, in the American and European versions, this costume was removed. Like her default costume was removed from not this version, but from VF4 Evo, and was replaced with like a color swap version of this. So she has like 2 of the same costume, which is really, really bizarre. But there you go. Yeah, so I like this, like the bottom there tells you like the level, which is like the skill, like level of difficulty, I guess. Sarah is considered a beginner character. For my very, very brief time with VF4 Evo, Sarah was my character. And in 5, I used El Blaze, and in Final Showdown, I used Jean Cujo.
Here I come.
That aliasing is out of control.
Go!
Oh, I fucked that up. What about Ultimate Showdown? Well, Ultimate Showdown and Final Showdown is the same game. Ultimate Showdown is just Final Showdown with weird broken online and new graphics and half of the customization and costumes missing. I'm trying to remember. Maybe she doesn't have it in this game. In some of the other games, she has like a 270 motion throw. But I can't figure out.
Maybe I should pull back a little.
Typical fashion. AI doesn't really start fighting back for a couple of matches. Alright, this is bothering me enough that I'm going to want to take a quick look. I'm going to pause. I'm going to just take it super quick. Wow, this is kind of weird. The characters are just hidden. Let me see if I am possibly... Yeah, okay, well, this isn't right. I think 4 or 5 is correct. I think this is basically the same. Just gonna look. there's others. Well, I think it's just it's like a 480i game, and they always get a little bit funky looking. Didn't get Ultimate Showdown free, you'd be not happy with it. Yeah, like I got it with PS4 Plus or whatever, PS Plus, and I don't have PS Plus anymore, so that's why it's like crossed down on the list, because I didn't buy it. I just got it with PS Plus, and then I let it lapse. So I don't really use my PS4 nowadays. And yeah, I was not happy with Ultimate Showdown. Like, the new graphics are hit and miss for me. Some of it looks fine, some of it looks basically the same. They made some changes to some of the faces to the characters. Like, it looks different enough that to me, some of it just looks like, on account of looking different without looking better, it looks worse to me. They made some changes to like some of the costume designs and stuff, and like I said, like most of the content is just missing, and like the hit sparks are kind of weird. I don't really like the new UI. Like, they just made a bunch of changes, and the online is like fucking broken, and just like I couldn't get it to work. For me, the online experience trying to play it was legitimately worse than Final Showdown on 360. So like it was just like, I don't know, I felt very deflated. They got a lot of downloads, so early days they were like happy with the success of it, but I'm curious what would have happened like in the time since. Sega hosted a bunch of tournaments and stuff, but yeah, I was just, I don't know. I really fucking hope we still have a shot at getting Virtua Fighter 6. Oops, okay. Ah! Her reaching with my 2P. Kind of crazy though how like all these like jaggies, like it really does not. I mean, I'm sure this capture is not doing it any favors. I'm sure it looks significantly better on a CRT, and I might have stuff like set up in a fucked up way with my capture unit. But that wouldn't be causing these razor sharp edges of all the meshes. What's up, Mike? But it's very responsive and nice and smooth and everything. Like, I wouldn't say that it's an ugly game, but some of those aspects just... But there's definitely some like deinterlacing issues, because you can see it like in the life bars when they take damage. Yeah, PS2 is like the most fucked system to capture. That's part of why I'm somewhat excited about the prospect of like finally getting my SCART situation. So isn't it? It's not. Because that means I can, like right now, my setup has to account for both what you guys are seeing. Whoa. What you guys are seeing on the stream, as well as what I'm seeing on my screen. Like, that's the same signal and the same, it's getting the same treatment.
Maybe I should pull back a little.
But if I can split the signal, so one of the signals goes directly to my CRT over here, and I'm playing on that, then I can optimize the capture to a certain degree. Like, PS2 is a hell to capture regardless. But not even speaking specifically of the PS2, but just in general. If, for example, there's like other things you can do to make something look nicer at the expense of input delay or something, then I don't have to worry about that, because I can make it look however nice I want. And if you guys are seeing footage with a like quarter of a second delay, that's not going to make any difference for you guys, but obviously it would make it kind of unplayable for me. But if that's happening like after the point in the chain where I'm actually getting the capture, then that would be not an issue. Yeah, Jack, we mentioned it. Like, someone asked, like, what's the difference between original 4 and Evo? And I never really played this, so I couldn't tell you. And I wasn't even, like, I didn't play Evo enough to be, like, very knowledgeable about that in the first place. The one thing I do know is, like, Vanessa was completely redesigned, basically. And they added, of course, Brad and Go. But I assume, without really remember anything of it, because it's been a long-ass time since I played Evo, I reckon the stages probably changed. That's something they tended to do, like, as they did revisions and updates to the game, just kind of to keep things fresh. Like, even Street Fighter 2 did that, right? Like, changing the color palettes of some stages to kind of change the time of day. It's a nice, simple way to make a game a little refreshed. Or kind of like how Tekken 7... with every new update, they change the colors of the life bars, so that as soon as you see footage of the game, you instantly know what version it is, which I thought was pretty clever. I don't think any other fighting games have really done that. Right, Jeffrey is typically where VF2 gets really annoying. Nice. Stage 5. Yeah, this could be where things start going a little bit uphill.
Ready, go!
Dude! All the circular moves. Alright, well, oh my god, okay, my timing... Oh, shit. That almost worked perfectly until it didn't, and then it almost did it, and then it didn't. Alright. That's fair enough. Let's continue stream.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, like, capturing is one... Like, getting a signal out of it is one thing, and then capturing is another. If you're using component, you probably have a slightly easier time hypothetically getting a progressive signal, but then the game's got to support it. If you have a modded system and use custom BIOS and stuff, you can, I guess, maybe force progressive support. I forget exactly how that works, but I don't have a modded system anyway. Well, I own one technically, but the disk drive is fucked. I don't know with this, like, the whatever it's called, the ECS IO memory card loading thing, if that would maybe allow me to do some of that stuff, but it's like shit works well enough for my needs for the most part that it's like, ugh, I can't be bothered investing more time or energy or money into possibly trying to improve it. Like, I can just live with PS2 capture just being a nuisance, and if it's like decent enough, it's decent enough. This is by far, by the way, my favorite version of Vanessa, just the way she looks. She had such a downgrade in VF5. Well, I mean, there was no difference between this and Evo, but from 4 to 5. Oh, right, okay, cool. My capture just blacked out, but I can watch my OBS preview window for 2 seconds. Oh, shit. I'm also not sure if this stage, like, hard to call, like, my memories of 4 and 4 Evo are definitely I'm conflating a lot with 5. So in terms of like who's on what stage and how they look, I'm like confused about whether it changed between this and Evo or if I'm just misremembering altogether.
Maybe I should pull back a little.
Well, it should be Lao, I would assume. So weird to see Lao with dark hair now. Like when 5 came out, it was like such a weird thing. Like, oh my god, he's got gray hair now. He looks so different. And now VF5, of course, has been the current VF for like 18 years. But seeing any like old version of Lao where he's got black hair seems weird, especially here when he's still like if you go back to BF2 or whatever, it's one thing, but in this game he still looks old, right? Like he's very wrinkly. Sidestepping and like throwing to punish is not a good idea, rather. Because if your opponent is in the middle of a strike, it doesn't matter if they've got their back turned. You cannot be thrown if you're in the middle of an attack animation. Stop. Oh, I did the low guard, but... So if you successfully evade and want to punish, like, you shouldn't be... Like, in specific instances, of course, you can punish with a throw, and you get a side throw or a back throw, which, like, are generally damaging throws. But if you're dodging a string and they keep whipping, like, yeah, your throw is 100% not going to work. Jack, I assume? Yeah.
I'm gonna whip you in no time!
Fight one. Ready,
It's kind of weird, like, the voice clips almost feel like they're less compressed than the VF5 ones. Like, it's really funny with the Virtua Fighter guest characters in DOA. Because they redid, like, all the models, but the sound clips, like, all the voice lines of the DOA, or the VF characters in DOA, are, like, fully unchanged. They're just taken straight from VF5, and the sound quality is so much lower than anyone else's voice clips in DOA 5 or 6. Obviously, you don't have that juxtaposition and weird contrast here. But it even seems, regardless of that, they're just higher quality here. Oh, I fucked it up. Oh, punch parry. Okay. Ah, yeah, I got a little flustered there, as you can tell. Like Jackie's so like kind of different from 5. Like there's a lot of difference. Obviously, you know, there's a lot of similarities, obviously. It's now, dude, fucking 1K? Oh, they must have changed it to Evo then. Because, yeah, Dragon Smash Cannon in my brain is 33K. And in like one of the versions of 5, they changed it to like 3kg or something. But here's 1K.
Maybe I should pull back a little.
What's up, Sword Crates? Well, it's highly debatable what makes for a good single-player fighting game package. I think it comes down to a lot of what you're looking to get out of it.
ready, go!
Virtua Fighter 4 Evo is phenomenal in what it does. But I'm a little, like... I guess you could say I've softened a little bit on... considering it the be-all, end-all of what fighting games should do. Not only is, like, some of it... Well, actually, a lot of its training materials have been... Maybe not fair to say surpassed, but, like... For a long time, it used to be that, like... The VF4 Evo was, like, singularly unique and heads and shoulders above anything else. And I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I guess it's fair to say that it still is. But I think there's a little bit of a risk to be like of maintaining that attitude, like being a little bit dismissive. Well, that's alright. Sure, I wasn't gonna win that anyway. Maybe being a little bit dismissive of what some other games have done later.
Thank you.
But it is really cool, and I think it's like, to put it this way, most games could still learn a lot from what VF4 Evo did. But you can look at a lot of stuff like some of the modern NRS games, Skullgirls, Killer Instinct, BF6 for that, or BF6, SF6. In some of the kind of quality of life options and stuff in the training modes. That's really well done. But I also think, like, holding up VF4 Evo is like the gold standard of what single-player content for fighting games should look like. It's like the you could argue near perfect version of a particular approach to it and a particular type of thing. But I think even in a more generally popular game, you could look at, like, let's say, just for the sake of argument, that Tekken 5 had like the same training stuff. I think you'd still have a very large portion of the audience who would never engage with it and not care. Or to put it this way, a large portion of the audience to whom that kind of stuff like just doesn't register. And I think something like SF6 like is an interesting case study, because I think there's a lot about World Tour mode that's pretty shit. Like, it's very mediocre, but it's like a lot of people are enjoying it. I mean, yeah, I will say that, like, the thing about Evo is, like, there's a lot of stuff that, like, when I say training, it's kind of split up over a lot of different modes. It does have a good training mode, but it has all these other things like the glossary and the training drills and the combo stuff, and like, but you know, that's semantics, I guess.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree, Socrates. Like the stuff the way they packaged everything, the way it presented it, like BF4 Evo, I think is still, you could argue, the fighting game that sort of best equips a person to like learn to be good at the game without the ability of playing another person. Like, you can do the drills, you can read up on the sort of theory, and you can practice stuff and like go to a tournament and like, well, you can't practice tournament nerves, of course, but like short of that. And yeah, the way it's sort of structured and not, like, as you say, like, not totally overwhelming. Oh, I fucking hate that dance. I hate Shundeep, that's all. Like, I love Virtua Fighter. The thing about Virtua Fighter is that I fucking hate fighting pretty much anyone on the cast. Like, everyone in Virtua Fighter has the most annoying shit to deal with. Like, I don't think there's a single character that doesn't have shit that's like super fucking annoying to deal with. But it's just the nature of the game. Nice, we got it back through. I don't know any moves here. But yeah, that's the thing too. Like, I think there's been a lot of interesting sort of overall trends and kind of theorizing on like how do we grow fighting games essentially, right? You know, it could be we need more tutorials, and yeah, I would say like in the wake of VF4 Evo, sort of like you mentioned Soul Calibur 3. I remember like the novelty of it having a tutorial basically. But being like kind of largely unimpressed with it. Yeah. You started getting games that do tutorials, but it's like, I don't know.
This isn't the last you've heard of me.
Games like MK11, I think, have like a fairly decent tutorial slash character guide thing where it doesn't fully overwhelm you. It tries to explain concepts. It breaks it sort of down. But it's still, you know, whether it's SF5, MK11, SF6, I think some recent Tekkens have had maybe something like that. Like, a lot of it is still, I don't know, it's like designed for you to button mash your way through it and not necessarily learn much. Even if you're a beginner who's like struggling to, let's say, understand the timing of canceling normals into a special move or doing a string in MK or whatever. Like, whether you understand it, like, you either button your way through it so quickly that you don't really register anything, or you struggle with something for a bit, you eventually get it, and then you sort of allow yourself to move on, even though you didn't really understand it. Like, I don't know. I still feel like I think modern DOA games actually do some really good stuff with like breaking things down into sort of lessons and doing these kind of tests where you have to like fight an AI opponent, and the game sort of encourages you to like, all right, let's just, you know, stop doing tutorial shit, go out, enjoy your life, have fun, play the game, and when you feel you're hitting a plateau or hitting a wall, come back and do some more lessons. Like, I think that's pretty smart too, like sort of embedding that into it. Like, you have to actually play the game, and because yeah, like trying to impart an appropriate number and depth of lessons before like you expect the player to be able to actually apply them, and like how much do you sort of expect anyone to actually take in and sort of remember. Like, I feel like tutorial modes generally don't even take that sort of that kind of problem into account. And I feel like it's, you know, I can look at stuff like that. Now, I haven't played Evo in so long that I I don't exactly remember any of it in detail. I can look at something like DOA 5 or 6 and say like, yeah, I think they did it pretty well. But my overall feeling is still generally that like it hasn't really been figured out. Like, people haven't. It's not a solved problem of how do you teach someone a fighting game within the fighting game. It's tricky. But yeah, like, for a time, like, I think it's fair to say that like around that time, the idea of like, ooh, tutorials, let's teach in the game, like that sort of started then. It didn't necessarily become
Let's begin.
standard. Like, Street Fighter 4 didn't have anything like that. There's no tutorial in Street Fighter 4. It sort of popularized combo trials, which I think some people, in some people's mind, is like a tutorial. It's definitely not, but I tried to sidestep. But ultimately, you know, as with anything, it doesn't really matter what's true and what's real. What matters is how it's perceived and what people experience. You know, going back to the idea of Street Fighter 4 being like back to basics and it's simple, which it like really isn't. But that was a very successful marketing on Capcom's part to like convince people that they felt that it was easy. there's a lot of problems and benefits with combo trials.
Thank you.
I think one problem is I can't think of any game, any fighting game that does any kind of trials, whether it's combos or
Let's
otherwise,
begin.
that actually does an adequate job of explaining what purpose they serve. Like, I think of combo trials as like a puzzle mode that has like okay, I must have I could have just jabbed her out. I panicked. That's a K-Prize. Happy Friday. Like, I think of combo trials as a puzzle mode where we can learn certain I mean, it varies from game to game, sort of how they're designed, but for the most part, they're a puzzle to solve, and if they're well designed, they'll teach you something. They won't give you a combo usually that's practical, but they might build a combo around some weird interaction with a certain move. Like in Street Fighter 4, whether it was Super or Vanilla, I forget. There was like a Honda trial where you hit with a weird like anti-air butt splash. Dude, how's that? That should have been mega punishable. I mean, I'm sure it is. I just don't know how to punch it. I'm dead. Oh. Ah! I tried to backdash. I should have just blocked. Like, you have to anti-air with a butt splash and land some weird juggle or something. And it's like, that might not be practical, but it'll teach you something about, like, a property of that move, which is sort of your responsibility to figure out where and how you can apply. I was gonna say, that should be punishable, right? So yeah, I mentioned, like, for a while, the idea of tutorials sort of started to crop up, but it didn't, like, super catch on. Nice. Side throw. And then I think, like, Street Fighter 4 kind of kickstarted the trend nice of this idea of, like, hey, fighting games are complicated. Street Fighter 3 didn't do well because parries are hard. Hard fighting games, you know, made the genre such a niche. It turned away people, so now we should make easy fighting games. And, like, I feel like that's been an kind of a mantra. Like, it's certainly, looking at games like Street Fighter 6 and Tekken 8, it's not the guiding principle anymore. But to a degree, I feel like it has been for most fighting games since then. Oh, whoa! Okay, we got him. He hit me with the sabaki, but then he fucked up, I guess, and somehow that whiffed.
Ready, go!
Not the move I meant to do, but we're alive. Nice. Sick. First try, Akira. No, exactly. SF4 is a super complicated game. It's not a simple game at all. There's nothing... I don't think there's anything about Street Fighter 4 that makes it simpler than Street Fighter. Well, the only thing, I guess, like, sort of universally or, like, factually, is that the inputs are more generous. The input parser of SF4 makes it easier for moves to come out. The reversal window is shorter. Sorry, it's longer. The damage on that though. So like they did things to make certain things easier, but by having a lot of the system mechanics basically revert to Street Fighter 2, they reintroduced a lot of like super arcade concepts, like rapid fire lights not being cancelable into special moves. They, you know, juggle points and juggle limits, which were like so much more streamlined and made more sense in Street Fighter 3. There's just like so many countless things like that. Well, we didn't get Joel, but I would not have expected that. Still, we like for standard difficulty VF, and for a game I don't know any moves. Basically, I think we did pretty damn well at getting through this in half an hour. So basically, the idea, I mean, even the narrative pre-Street Fighter 4 of like, shout outs to Len Hart with 3 N's for some reason. That's fine. The narrative that like Street Fighter 3 pushed away players by being too complicated, I don't think it's really true. Obviously, it is factual that Street Fighter 3 in any incarnation was not a success to the degree of Street Fighter 2. I think that's pretty self-evident. But like, I feel like this narrative that Street Fighter 3 pushed people away by being too complicated was already a flawed, like, sort of, what's the word? Conclusion? A flawed analysis of the situation. And then, I don't know, Capcom sort of just successfully, I don't mean this in any kind of malicious way, but they sort of, again, self-evidently, they successfully built on that narrative by saying, hey, Street Fighter 3, that was for sweat nerds. But Street Fighter 4, it's got Blanca, it's got Honda, everybody's here. In this game, you don't need to know difficult parries and option selects and throw partitioning or anything like that. You can just do your quarter circle motions and do your super moves, and it's just like you remember it. And it's like, again, ultimately, it doesn't matter whether that was true or not. What matters is that people perceived it to be true to the point where they played the game, they bought the game, they enjoyed the game, they liked the game. I don't know, I think that's just really fascinating. And I think before like we completely, like, we're gonna get into some stuff, we're gonna do a new poll shortly. Thank you for picking this game. This was fun, interesting to dip one's toes into a version of Virtua Fighter that I'm not terribly familiar with. Good stuff, good stuff. But yeah, what I wanted to say is, like, there's been these kind of shifting trends into this, like, because yeah, kind of what you're saying, SDS, like, the decline of fighting games as like the dominant genre has more to do with both the role of arcades, but also probably more so what you're saying about like the concept of what like a video game, what a console game, what a home game is. Like, there was that kind of period of exploration in the mid to late 80s when Japanese developers had to kind of figure out, like, well, what is a Famicom game that's made for the Famicom and not an arcade port or a computer port? And that was eventually kind of figured out. And I think around the time of like the late 90s, like, I feel like the current sort of conception of a AAA video game in its current form is like, it's been around since I would say the last decade, maybe, where you started having, you know, the not just the size of budgets, but also maybe some aspects of like online connectivity, a longer tail of post-launch support, the idea of maybe the certain scope and scale of the experience, the like voice acting and performance capture, like the certain kind of expectations you have of what you think of as a modern AAA game. But AAA games have been around before then, and you could obviously look at games from the mid 80s, early 80s, 70s, whatever. Like there were always have been games that were at like the sort of the cream of the crop, like the toppest, biggest, baddest games, you know. But in terms of being something that's like, wow, this is like elevated above, like this is something that only the most proficient studios in the world can actually put together and put out. I feel like that started kind of becoming a thing towards the late 90s. Like, yeah, Sega did Outrun in 1986, and that was a mind-blowing experience, but it was still a tight little package because that's what arcade games were. Like, when you started having games that were, you know, MGS or Final Fantasy VII, or even something like, I don't know, the original Fallout, or like other PC games that were also just like, or I don't know, Baldur's Gate, like these big experiences, they aren't at all what we would think of as AAA games today, but they were something that, like, certainly when it comes to console gaming, like they shifted the goalposts kind of for what consumer expectations were. Yeah, Capcom in the arcade, like, was just mind-blowing, insane top quality. Like, not a lot of people could do that. It's definitely AAA in that sense, but it wasn't the kind of thing that necessarily captured the imagination of the wider audience. So yeah, any fighting game, like, it happened to be that the Street Fighter 3 games, you know, that they just happened to be at that time where fighting games were kind of falling off their position as king of the hill. And I think that has far more to do with Street Fighter 3's perceived lack of success than anything to do with, like, how the game is designed, for sure. But yeah, like, you kind of got, fuck it, let's just start a raffle. We're never going to do it unless I just do this. So thanks again, Dark Witch Claire, for picking Virtua Fighter 4. I enjoyed this very much. Let's just set up a new raffle. And I think we are good like that. Let's do it. Let's boom. But you had some ideas of, you know, even back then, of course, you had like the home versions of Street Fighter 03 with the World Tour mode and what have you. But, you know, Midway, when they first started making their own home versions of Mortal Kombat, starting from Deadly Alliance, they had their own ideas of the kind of weird tutorial story thing in Deadly Alliance, the bonus unlockable stuff and whatever else. But there's been these kind of shifts and trends. You can look at certain things that, as like tutorials, bonus like adventure modes and other alternate gameplay stuff, focus on online play, simplicity of game systems and execution, and like trying to sort of lower the threshold for people to engage with the mechanics and the systems and whatever else. But I think for sure, like in the last, let's say 50, let's say post SF4, I think there are relatively few fighting games that had the same kind of playful approach to different game modes. Oh yeah, last call. We got about 30 seconds, accounting for Twitch lag and whatnot, to type raffle in chat if you want to pick the next game. So do please join in if you want to pick what we're playing next. Where, like, for a while, looking at Soul Calibur or something, even setting aside like the Edge Master mode and the various quest modes and the Soul Calibur 3 story mode and RPG tactics mode and whatever else, just having like arcade versus time attack, team battle, survival, whatever else, like we don't even get that nowadays, and we haven't, like, it's been a long time since that shit was like standard, and I do miss that. All right, boom, Laraia 335, congrats, you are the winner. let me just consult the spreadsheet here and make sure that we check Virtua Fighter 4 as having been played. And today is 2023-06-16, I believe. It's the 16th today, right? It is indeed. That's right, Night Warriors. Yes, so we're going to be checking out the PS3 Darkstalkers collection thing, right? I'm going to need a moment to do a tiny bit of setup to switch to my PS3. So I'm going to hop on over to the BRB screen for just a minute, and I'll be back with some Darkstalkers in just a little bit. See you guys in a minute. All right. Let's see here. I need to configure my capture. Doesn't look quite right. We're getting audio quite loudly. Let me try this again. It's always a bit buggy whenever I have to switch, because you can't capture PS3 on HDMI because of forced HDCP. Oh, there we go. I'm fucking idiot. I was changing the audio input and not a video input. There we go. We should have a versus fighting thing here. We sure do. And do I not have this installed? Oh, there we go. I was gonna say that seems fucked up because I know we played the other one, but there we go. All right, let's change this. Why not have cover art for this? Yes. Oh, hang on. Okay. That's not. Hang on. I didn't name it something weird, did I? Look like it. I'm just confused. Well, whatever. Screw it. We'll just do this then. Yeah. You can strip HDCP, of course. That's what I did when I streamed for my PS TV. But it's not super practical, and I don't know if the one I have still works. Either way, like anytime you have to swap anything with capture, like there's always some weird handshake stuff, and you have to like. It gets weird. Tough thing is weird. Hang on. This is not on my list? Why am I confused? Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, it was under Vampire Hunter. Right, yeah, we played Vampire Savior on this version before. But I guess by default like you press select to go to what they call Darkstalkers 3, which is so fucking weird that it's called that in this version. The naming of this series and these games are all fucked up. Because everything changed, like Capcom USA in the 90s were fucking awesome shit, just changing things and renaming things just completely willy-nilly. Yeah, the PS1 port is called Darkstalkers 3, but this isn't the PS1 port, so why is this version named that? It makes no sense. Anyway, we should make sure that the title is fixed at least. Fucking 10 FPS menus, that bothers me so much. Am I on some, like... Why am I at 0 points? Wait, unlock full... Are we playing a demo? What the fuck is going on? Is this a network thing? I am so confused right now. Am I on the wrong profile or something? Shouldn't be. I'm picking my I don't think my PS3 is... No, it's got a network cable there. I have to do some kind of system update. No, I don't want to log out. Like, I'm sure I'm not on like current system version. But why? Okay, let's. Whoops. Options. Yeah, because I installed it in 2021. What happens if I... Like, I'm not on PS Plus anymore, but my PS3 probably doesn't know that. But it's not a... I bought this game. Why does it appear to... Yeah, I have to unlock. Yeah, okay. Because when, like, PS Plus stuff... Man, I know that Capcom had some weird shit. Like, Bionic Commando Rearmed 2 on PS3 is like, online only or whatever. Like, you have to be connected. I think even Final Fight Double Impact is like that. CGPO logo is so fucking ugly, by the way. So I reckon we probably can't do a full arcade playthrough if we're stuck with the... Let me just see what happens if I pick unlock. But it's probably gonna... Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess we have to do that. But I'm gonna, I guess, have to... Alright. I don't think we're getting around this. Because if it's not this game, it's going to be some other PS3 thing that just doesn't work. But it's fine. We can do some just chatting in the meantime. Let me just set this up. Presumably, it's literally all just security fixes. So it shouldn't be a huge download, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to take like 4 to 5 minutes, because updating the PS3 is a fucking nightmare. Like, anytime there's a patch for a 360 game or a 360 system update, it always took like 2 seconds. And on PS3, it's always like, download is slow as hell, installing is slow as hell, and then you, for some reason, have to wait for it again. Oh, I fucking hated, even at the time, like, I never liked using the PS3. It was always such a hassle. Always such a hassle. Yeah, well, we'll see, Mudusama. Yeah, PS4 is so stable. Stability, system stability, week after week. It's like that, please stop praying for my grandpa. Like, please stop updating the stability. If my PS4 is any more stable, it's gonna grow attached to my entertainment center. I need a little bit of flexibility in my PlayStation. Well, let's see how this goes. Alright, do we need to update again? Oh, I guess we just download it. So now we need to install it. Like, such a... Like, at the time, I got a PS3 close to release for Virtua Fighter 5, coincidentally. And I remember at the time, I'd gotten a 360 close to release as well. And I was so flabbergasted at how absolute dog shit the PS3 was in terms of system functionality and features. Like, despite launching a year after the 360, it was so much worse. It was just unbelievable. And some of it improved. And then some of it just got worse and worse with, like, the... I feel like 2 years into owning a PS3, I stopped using the PS Store on a console and just only ever used the browser, like the web version, because it was still really bad, but 100 million times better than trying to do anything on a console. And then, like, the other year, I guess, they fucked it up by, like, not just making it so the web version can no longer be used for older consoles, but it was something like for the PS4 as well. I don't know. I think they overhauled the actual web. Like, yeah, I guess for the PS5 launch, they, like, redid the browser version of the PlayStation Store, and they made it, like, 10 times worse to use. I mean, the PS Store on PS3 was never good, but it wasn't absolute dog shit, unusable piece of trash where everything takes 5 minutes, until it was. And I mean, I think the Xbox Store is fairly clunky as well, but it's a lot better. Yeah, I think for a while you could still use some like Grease Monkey script or something to access the old web interface, but I would assume that that's no longer possible. Yeah, I don't know that I've ever had a legitimately good store experience. Like they're all weirdly laggy, and like compared to using a website on a computer in the last 20 something years, like no video game console appears even halfway like capable of providing a smooth, reasonable experience. Like it seems baffling. Yeah, like the Switch stuff is, yeah, it's just kind of clunky, and it's like you have a wish list and you can buy stuff off your wish list, and Xbox does this too, where after you buy something it's still on your wish list. I feel like it would make more sense for it to be automatically removed from your wish list after you have it in your collection, in your library, but that's not how it works, I guess. Yeah, the loading is just slow. Like it's not necessarily a matter of the design, even though the Switch has the kind of problem, right, where it always sort of, I mean, everything's slow, right? It's like weird laggy 12 FPS. Like it feels like you're trying to fucking play Skyrim on a PS1 with how much it's struggling to like show you a picture or text. Like it's like how can it be that slow at loading like a fairly light looking website? And there's some other like weird usability stuff, but it's mostly just the browsing experience, like trying to look at like, oh, I want to check out these 5 games, and it takes like 10 minutes, when it feels like if I was on a computer, I could be on a 20-year-old computer, you know, browsing Amazon, and I could go through the same amount of information in 20% of the time. Like, why does it have to be like that? Like, I guess there must be some explanation, because it's like they're all like that. But why? Because like, if it didn't have to be like that, then there's absolutely no excuse or reason as to why it is. I don't know. It's fucking weird, man. But I have a really like annoying issue. Like I said, I don't use my PS4 or anything other PlayStation very frequently nowadays. But for those years when the PS4 was like my main system, and even PS3 at a point in time, I could use the website to like queue up downloads remotely, or even just like buy things, and then I could go into my library and like, you know, that stuff all worked rather elegantly. But for my Xbox now, like I tend to use to kind of go through the console itself more often. Cool. It's looking fine on my end, so it's probably just some capture option that got messed up, or it dropped resolution or something. But I have this super fucking annoying, oh sick, my login information was incorrect, so I'm not allowed to log into PSN, but I could do the system update. Let's see if we need PSN. I mean, I guess I probably would, right? Because I need to... Well, it could tell me that I don't have updates. Yeah, so probably... Yeah, I know the visuals look all fucked up. I guess... Oh yeah, that's right. It's like PSN is on its own thing. It's like, where the fuck do I even find PSN? All right, so I'm gonna hide this for a bit, and I'm gonna check a thing here, and I'm gonna see if I can log into PSN on my PS3. It seems like something I don't feel like I can take for granted that I will be able to do. But I guess it sort of makes sense that I would have maybe at some point changed the password here. So I just need to look up what it is. Oh. Oh, let me see if I can. That's right. The I'm not going to show it to you on screen, but the PS3, like, what do you call it? Like, alphabet text entry thing was actually pretty fucking slick. And they haven't used it again since. Of course, I have to like remember how to use it, but oh, I guess you can't properly see this, but oh, never mind, you can now. I'll need to create a device setup password. Scan the QR code with your. Okay. Okay. I have to do factor. Yeah, because Lord knows what I would do on my PS3 if I logged in illegally. And I'll say this. I don't have to deal with this shit on Xbox. What I was going to say before was that buying stuff on the website for the Xbox stuff is a little bit weird and a bit of a hassle at times, but mostly because whenever I go to the Xbox website, doesn't matter how often I try to like change it to the Swedish region, it keeps like switching it back to the UK version, so I get like prices in like in pound sterling. And sometimes I'm always get a little bit worried that there's going to be some regional thing where I'm getting the wrong version or something. Like I'll go to a product page and it'll be the UK version, and then I go to the bottom of the page and I click the little globe and I pick Sweden, and it brings me back to the top page of Xbox whatever. And then I can browse back to the game I want to check out, and it puts me on the UK version. Now I have to generate a new password. Device setup password. Okay. Now I have to, okay, enter this. Off. I'm gonna have to do this at some point or another. It's like, absolutely do not feel bad that you picked this game or on PS3 and it's a hassle. Like, it's not your fault. I'm gonna have to deal with this. We're, this is a long-standing tradition of these streams. We always have to deal with some weird technical troubleshooting shit, and I feel like 5 times out of 5.5, it's PS3 related. That's how it goes. I almost started reading out the password aloud, but I'll probably not do that. So I need to sign in using this new weird password that I had to generate. And now after I've done that once, I will once again be able to log in using my actual account password, apparently. But it looks like I'm logged in now. So I wonder... I'm logged into PSN, but will that automatically actually... will that actually do whatever it needs to do to check I guess we can start it up and see. Or maybe I will have to actually go to the PlayStation Store. Dear Lord, I hope not. But we're logged into PSN now. So hopefully it should be able to do some kind of check or something or other. We should basically see if our save data... Well, I guess we'll see if it's going to ask us to press a button to unlock full version. And I guess we can just pick that option, right? That should take us to where we need to go in case it doesn't do what we want. We're at level 1 with nothing. Okay, so let's see what happens if I pick this. Going out to the store. Like, this is such a horrible user experience. I own this. I own this game. I mean, there's no risk of it charging me $14.99 because I don't have any payment methods. Well, actually... Wait. I was gonna say, I guess I have probably some money on my PSN account. Why does it say remaining wallet amount? I guess it's referring to how much more I need to add to my wallet. That's an incredibly confusing phrasing. But why is it fucking asking me to... How am I even able to pay this? Well, this is exciting. We get to do some sightseeing here of the brave new world of the PlayStation Store being an absolute piece of shit. Let's reboots this thing. Like, trying to do this on a 360, I'm sure would feel very like, oh my god, this is clunky compared to like the Xbox One or Series X. But holy hell, is it far worse here. So I guess I have to go to the PlayStation Store, right, to see my, like, previous purchases. I'm just bracing myself for trying to find that thing in the list of purchases. But we get to do some entertaining... Wait, what the fuck? This whole thing. Oh, I guess it just had to quit out. I'm not going to stream. Well, I have to get the game to stream it. I have to somehow convince my PlayStation 3 that I own this game. And I'm struggling a little bit with that right now. Do I believe that Darkstalkers is going to come back in some form? I don't know. It'd be nice, I guess. I like the character designs and everything, but I never felt like super strongly about Darkstalkers. I think after Street Fighter 6, it's a little easier to be optimistic about the idea of what a new Darkstalkers would be and what it would look like. But I think it's kind of tough. Like, it's not a super easy question to answer, even for people at Capcom, I'm sure. Like, what would you do if tasked with, like, coming up with a new Darkstalkers game? Like, how... Because, like, you know, what was the compelling aspects of the original games don't necessarily translate one-to-one with a game if you make it today. Not to say that it couldn't be done, just that, like, you'd have to think long and hard about what it would be and how you would go about it. Oh, I've got, like... Okay. So, do I go into view downloads? Is this where I find... Yep, sure looks like it. Cool. So I guess I just go here, and then we just go back to like 2013. So this is like what you had to do on the website, but it was at least a little easier. Than it is here. I will say, at least I don't have to go through like 10 things and then click a next page button. So this is like, honestly, I will say, I'm pretty impressed with how fast this is for being on a PS3. It took us like 10 minutes to get into this menu, but once we're here, it's like actually functional, which I'm like fairly impressed with. I must admit, there's still a lot to be annoyed with. But when it actually works, it's like, okay. Anyone a fan of 383.3 megabytes? I'm curious what that is. 2014. Guess this would be 2012? Some point. It's like, how fucking absurd is it that we even have to do this? Like, it's absurd that we have to do this. And it's, like, equally absurd that finding yourself in the situation where you have to do this, that it's this stupid and weird. Like, you should think that, well, let me just search for the game to go to its page, download it from there. But, well, we were on its page, and it just asked us to buy it for $14.99. Well, there's Third Strike Online. Well, now we're back to 2011. Was that the game? It might have been. It probably was, because now we're, like, there's no way that was before Third Strike Online, right? I mean, we can try downloading 383 megabytes, because... Yeah, but then we're 20... I think I bought it when it came out. Maybe I didn't. We can just try that and see what happens. Of course, it has to, like, repopulate these icons. Yeah, 2013 is when I saw the latest, like, update was on the game info, so I figured it would be around that time. So I guess I probably didn't buy it at launch then. Like, I didn't really remember, but... Activating? Wow, okay, maybe this is the game. I like that the text scroll is, like, dropping frames. Yeah, just a fucking raw package file just sitting there on... Holy hell. If we end up not really being able to play this, I think this was an entertaining segment in its own right. The jump, the hoops one has to jump through. Okay, so now it's going to install. It's going to prepare it first. Download completed. I can't necessarily, like, easily alt-tab back to the menu. So in the case that I actually ended up buying this collection 5 years later on sale, then we just have to scroll here and see if we manage to find our way to it, I guess. Like, the fact that there's no thing on the home menu that lets you just, like, go to this game on the store seems a bit whack. But I guess, you know, for the PS3, it wasn't necessarily a foregone conclusion that a game... Okay. TV show or something? What the hell is this? There's not a foregone conclusion that that a game is on the PlayStation Store. Hours. What the fuck is this? Why is this on my account even? All right, here we go. We got a bunch of Capcom stuff that I probably got on sale, so it could be around here somewhere. Oh, no, we're back to the top of the list. Yeah, this is when I got, like, PS Vita cross-buy stuff on PS Plus. Yeah, there must have been something that just gave everyone. Okay, well, we can do this then. One last thing I can try is I can try to search for Darkstalker's Resurrection just to see what happens. God, I remember this. Conceptually, this isn't like a terrible idea, but it's like so clunky, and I'm shocked at how actual like fast this actually is, because I remember it being a lot worse than this. It's still not great, but yeah, I can add to cart or try a free demo. The fact that I can add it to cart is such a fucked up thing. 335 megabytes? Alright, okay, well, let's see if we can, I guess we can do this. Let's see if we have a little install bubble in our games list. Like, oh wait, hang on. Yeah, we have this. Okay, let's install this, I guess. Fucking back catalog malware. It's a different file size. Oh my, fucking installing things on PlayStation. Holy shit. It's astonishing how I brace myself for the idea that, you know, someone might pick something that's on the PS3 and it's probably going to be a hassle. I don't look forward to it, but I'm doing it like in the name of, you know, what we're doing here. And I have games, you know, I have stuff in my shelf, stuff that I want to play. I have bought PS3 games that I want to play at some point. So like, I can't afford to necessarily say that like, hey, I'm just never going to bother with my PS3 again. But it truly is astonishing that despite bracing oneself for the worst possible user experience, I am still shocked at how much worse it is than I expect. It'd be further down because it's going to reorder the list after the PS Plus sub. I feel like that, I don't understand how that makes sense. But it doesn't mean that you're wrong. But we went down to like 2011. Like we went down further beyond the point of PS Plus being introduced, or certainly when I started getting it. Because I got PS Plus, I guess, when I got my Vita? Hard to remember. I think so. So that would have been in 2013-ish. Secret PS3 port of PT. Yeah, I have no idea what this is. It doesn't make sense that it would be Darkstalkers. Cool, this is still on here. That's not supposed to happen. This thing is supposed to not be here in this little install bubble. And nothing more has been added here. What happens if I try to pick this again? Is it going to just install it again? Yep. Alright, I'm going to hit cancel. And I guess we just like, I just lost this game. I don't have it anymore. Like it's, I'm baffled. Yeah, Sony very helpfully ate the game for me. Like, there are aspects of these, like, Iron Galaxy ports that I'm not super in love with, but, like, I would have liked to maintain ownership of this license for this game. If they're gonna have the gall of trying to sell it to me for $14.99 again... Now, when I say I have, it's just like I'm not referring to this kind of stuff because I wasn't like envisioning this kind of stuff being a thing. Yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe rebooting it would help. Who the fuck knows? But it's more so some of the UI stuff is a bit clunky. Like the fact that you like, it's the same thing with some like the anniversary collection stuff here and there, where like you pick. There's stuff that's like done in this like overlay menu system instead of you actually starting the original game and doing it through the game itself. It's just like stuff like that can get a little bit weird. Well, I'm sorry, I guess we just are not able to play this game. That's unfortunate because I would have quite liked to play this. Lariah, I'm sorry. So unfortunately we're not able to play this game. If you are still around, you are more than welcome to pick anything else from the list. Why not? I mean, I don't know what we can play exactly. We can try our best here, but I assume we're gonna be able to play like 2 fights. Like this looks shit. This is why I don't like this. Holy fuck! I mean, I guess there's some like smoothing options. I couldn't back out of it. God. Okay, let me try to fix that at least. Because it just deleted all of my options. This makes me so mad. When they had whoever they had doing the marketing or like talking about not just this but like all the Iron Galaxy stuff that they did for Capcom. Some like producers like, oh, you can play in the original aspect ratio. It's like, no, you dumb fuck. This is a 4:3 game, but this is like square pixel aspect ratio because you have the stretch to 16:9, and you have this like square pixel aspect ratio where it's like it's not designed like it's not meant for you to see it this way. So normal, thank you. Crisp, smooth, none, thank you. High resolution. If I turn this off, do I get like normal, proper select screen? And we have like massive extra. We do have like an analog signal, so it gets a little bit weird. Well, I guess we'll do that. Try this again. Yeah, there we go. So we can get access to the proper select screen, like the proper sick Capcom artwork instead of like I have nothing against. I'm losing the name of the artist. The guy they hired to do the new artwork for this and Third Strike Online, but I don't think their art is like a good fit for the material at all. I guess we'll start the time. I don't know how many fights you can even do in this demo, but we'll do what we can.
Get ready. Fight.
Yeah, see, like the challenge stuff, I think that's cool. I think that's a great addition to a package like this. But it's a little obnoxious that it's like on there and you can't not have it on there. Feature's cool though. Don't know why they changed all the colors. That was kind of a traditional thing they did. They did the same thing with Street Fighter 2. In the other versions, they changed the default color, and they did the same thing in Street Fighter 3. In Second Impact, they gave everyone a bunch of new colors, and the heavy kick color became the default. So I think that's the same thing here. Like the default color is still there, it's just not on Light Punch. Trying to minus, oh, maybe it's more. I don't really like know the moves very well. I was trying to do the Midnight Bliss, but I'm not sure if I need more meters for it because it's like a reverse Dragon Punch motion. That's kind of weird.
Fight!
Do I have a kick throw with a bite? The hit sparks when you do like the on hit and especially on block looks so sick though. Maybe it's a medium punch throw. Yeah, there we go. No, that's still the. Okay, never mind. Oh. There we go. Dude, this art is so unbelievably sick. But yeah, the challenge stuff is like conceptually I think it's excellent. I think it's smart that it lets you see stuff while playing, but it's a little bit obnoxious. I want to say for third or for I guess it wouldn't be for Third Strike because it came out after this. Maybe they had a similar thing in something else that came. I want to say that they eventually had some option. Maybe it was for Dungeons and Dragons, probably, where they actually let you turn it off, so it's like you can set it so the side thing is just like a black bar or whatever. But it's also like the names of some of the challenges and stuff. It's just like a little bit like goofy and sort of memey, and especially when they like, yeah, that plasma, chucking that plasma. We got some sick fucking American 2010s FGC slang. Shit like that always rubs me kind of the wrong way. Like the big thing with why like I dislike a lot of Street Fighter HD Remix as well. I mean, I know there was a lot of very legitimate reasons to dislike that. But the way they sort of, I felt was a little disrespectful to the legacy of the original games by having referring to certain things like by their American name. Like in the move list, like you could pause like this and you could bring up a move list. Oh, it's so clunky. So you know they have the name of the moves here and everything. Yeah, so this is what I was trying to do. It seemed to work very well. Maybe you have to be point blank. But in HD Remix, like, they didn't use the proper actual names for the special moves. They just used the fucking American made-up David Sirlin names. So Zangief's Vanishing Flat is literally referred to in the move list as Green Hand. Like, my God! Like, what an embarrassment. And it's like this combination of hubris and ignorance and just Sirlinisms that just like, ugh, just feels like kind of embarrassing. And kind of the same thing here where it's like, I don't know, call it what you want, but like when I see stuff like that and you have this challenge called That Plasma, because it was like a funny thing that people said around that time. Like, yeah, okay. And I feel like putting that in the game itself, I mean, it can be a fine line to walk, because in some instances, like, acknowledging the community and the scene is like isn't necessarily and factually like the wrong thing to do, but I think it's like you can do it more or less tastefully and in a way that's more or less sort of congruent with the the feel of the game itself. And it's like, it didn't end up that way in the final game, but when they had like damage on that seems a little questionable. These motions are so awkward to do. It didn't end up that way in the final game, but when HD Remix was in development, and it was in development, like it was delayed for a long time because they had a lot of problems with the production of the art, and it still ended up looking pretty terrible in the end. They did at some point post like some sort of art tests or like early attempts at like the character sprites or whatever. Like you can find this online. They end up having like, they didn't match, like it wasn't the actual art style they kind of went for in the end because they had a lot more kind of detail. They didn't look better, mind you, but they were sort of in the process, I guess, of figuring out how to actually draw the sprites in a way that allowed them to finish the project. And in one of those like earlier attempts and like unfinished versions, wow. There was a sprite of Boxer, and like on his shorts, like on his trunks, it said Balrog on the trunks. Now I'm sure one of the reasons they didn't end up doing that in the final game is because obviously you put text on something, it's gonna flip, that's not gonna look right. Oh yeah, I can't continue, interesting. And I just thought it's like, that feels so legitimately disrespectful to like make this version of the game and just like, well, in our version we're gonna establish the overseas American character names so firmly that we're gonna emblazon them on the character sprites themselves. Like disregarding the fact, I mean, although obviously I can't completely detach that bias, but like disregarding the fact that I personally just prefer the original Japanese names for the characters, I think it's like, again, it feels disrespectful to like change, or you know, to decide in your version of the game that you're making like the localized version of character names is like the one that should be the original or whatever. So it's like stuff like that I think is a bit messed up. Try to unlock full game, see if we can do it now. And yeah, having the achievement or trophy, whatever challenge thing called that plasma, like gives me slightly similar vibes. It's not quite the same thing, but what does preview mean? Does it mean download the demo? No, it means watch screenshots, I see. Gonna ask me to pay? Yep. I'm just like flabbergasted. Like I guess it's just been like deleted from my library. I can't find it somewhere, and I have to like, I'm a little scared. Like I shouldn't have enough money to do this, but like is it gonna drain my 483 somehow if I try to do this? I don't know. I don't know. This is fucked. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna move on. Just play on. I don't have it on me. I don't have it on hand. So I feel like we've already like. I still feel like I didn't quite deliver. So Lariah, you're welcome to pick another game, honestly, because this is a complete shit show. Raffle is not currently open, Dynamite. You will be alerted when it is. Like if you're satisfied, Lariah, we can move on. We can do another raffle. We can pick another game. But I'll be. You can just exclamation VS, so you got the list right there. This has just been an unprecedented degree of shit show, which has been amusing in its own way, but not how I would have wanted this to play out. Besides Killer Miller, we've already played this game on the arcade version. This is the only version that was left to play. I think we did, or maybe no. We played the Saturn version. It must have been. Yeah. I didn't put the arcade version because I put like the only reason there are arcade games on here in the first place is because when we first did the inaugural Viewers Choice Fighting Game stream was like a New Year's Eve special, and to keep things simple, it was only MAME games. It was all arcade games. But I had such a good time doing it. I was like, man, I should do this. Like, I've got so many other fighting games. Why don't I just add everything to the list? And the arcade games, even being on there, is just a remnant of that. So after that point, I never added any new arcade games. Marvel superheroes. I reckon that's probably... Yeah, I'm sorry, that's an arcade game, so I don't have those. Basically anything that's arcade almost will be available in the future, but tonight I just don't have, because I switched computers not too long ago, so I don't have my arcade stuff set up. Yeah, requisite stream scuffery achieved. When am I getting Pocket Fighter? Yeah, that's the thing, like... All right, Laura, thanks very much for your pick. Thank you very much for doing your best. I'm sorry that my best wasn't good enough to get something going here. You're more than welcome to join future raffles and try another pick and see if we have better luck. Sometimes this is just how it goes. Let's just do another raffle then, and we'll pick another game and we'll keep things going. Again, apologies, but I think this is what do they call it? Act of God thing. Just could not have planned ahead for this degree of fuckery. Let me just set up a new raffle real quick, and I'll be with you guys in a second. All right. There we go. Raffle is now open. Enter, and you will have a chance to pick the next game. Let me catch up with chat. Yeah, Mudasama, let me know how it goes. if you manage to fix your copy of Darkstalker's Resurrection, please do let me know for future reference. Hate that some collections, like the fighting collection, gives a button to automatically do special moves and super moves instead of doing the input. I don't think I've ever seen that, to be honest. Like, obviously some games have like simple inputs and stuff, but I can't recall seeing like emulator collections like this having like, because I don't even know how like that would work. I mean, I guess you could do some kind of macro recording thing. Or something like, you know, I don't have any problems with anything like that. Obviously, it's just it's up to the player how you want to engage with the game. Like, I don't mind it being there, unless it's like, you know, something that fucks up with the competitive nature of a game. Then I could obviously see the argument for being against it. But as far as like it's just messing around with games, enjoying it on your own terms, anything that helps people enjoy it, I think it's usually a positive thing. Thank you, Lemsar, for your stand-up acumen. All right, last chance, 20 seconds or so to type raffle to have a chance of picking the next game. We've had very, very light participation tonight. But hey, better odds for those who do enter. As long as we get games picked, and as long as they're actually playable, I guess, I'm happy. So I guess I should just mark this game as is ineligible for now. Let me find it in... Oh yeah, it's Vampire Hunter. Okay, man, everything's happening at once here. Itinerant Soldier, congrats. You have won the quote-unquote giveaway. You get to pick the next game. And what a... this was upsetting. Let's just strike through there. Dead or Alive 2 Ultimate. Oh yeah! This is going to be interesting. I actually bought this the other week. I haven't actually played this. All right. Well, we need another minute to swap setups here, but it should be quick enough. Skull cheaters. Well, you too, my friend, could be a skull cheater. Let us see here. Okay, so I should probably use this joystick I got. Well, yeah, we'll play this on stick. Okay, hang on. Let's oh yeah, I need this. Oh, okay, right, okay. Give me a second here, because I'm gonna need to swap my or change some video settings on my Xbox, or I'm able to capture it probably. Because it's set to a higher resolution than my capture card supports, and I'm not sure what happens if I okay. Oh, you know, I forgot. Should actually work still. I had the stick on PS3 mode and not 360 mode, but I'm using an Xbox converter, so it should still work. Right, let's TV display options. Oh, okay, never mind. It is it was already set to 1080p. We'll be fine. Okay. So whenever I use it for non-stream purposes, I have my Series X set to 1440 120. So whenever I need to swap, like, stream capture stuff. Okay. Now my capture card properties windows is not responding. Things are going swimmingly. I think this is just some form of karmic retribution for the last stream, like not really having any technical problems. What if I just close this? All right, I think we're live. I'm so upset right now. Oh shit, okay, the other window finally closed. All right. So much weird shit was going on. I was this close to just saying, you know what, fuck it, we're just gonna cancel the whole thing and we'll just try again next week. But we can just barely hang on here. I'm oof. Wait. Ugh. Streamer. Okay, now my okay, what about now? Is this gonna work now? Cool. My Stream Deck is not working because I guess probably is my streamer bot connection broken now as well? Give me a second. We'll be able to play the game and it'll be okay, but where do I even configure this? Which accounts? Because I can't, like, this works. This does not work. What about this? Nope. I can do this manually. All my shortcuts for like swapping layouts just are not working. What about something like this? Yep, that's not working. Wait. No, it's not. Okay. Yeah, basically anything that uses streamer bot doesn't seem like it's working. Let me try restarting Stream Deck and see if it will fix itself. That's the thing, like if something crashes, the whole house of cards can kind of collapse. Yep, still does not work. Okay, let me try restarting streamer bot, I guess. Maybe some weird connection thing where the local server is being connected to by the old instance of OBS that's still lingering somehow. Yep, okay, it's just not... Quite annoyed. Yeah, the level of scuffedness of this stream is... I mean, someone was requesting horrors to go more unspeakable. I think we might have gotten there. So why is this action not being played? You can pick it from the list. Second, like, how is it? Well, whatever. Once I like reboot my computer and change everything like it should. But yeah, OBS is not. Okay, I can understand why. Can I force a connection? Yeah, it is. Connect. Yeah, for some reason my OBS cannot connect to streamer bot, or maybe it's the other way around. I'm not sure. And without it, I can't properly swap scenes or anything. And I'm sure there's other shit that's not going to work. Because Stream Deck can connect to streamer bot, but running a streamer bot command from the Stream Deck isn't going to do much because streamer bot cannot communicate with OBS. Like I'm connected to Twitch, but I'm not connected to OBS. And it, I don't know. I think it must be some kind of IP conflict thing because of the other instance somehow still being around. The server settings. Could be. Yeah, it's still. Yeah, it's trying to connect with the correct credentials and it's still not connecting. And it's attempting to. Oh, well, whatever. Fuck it. We're just not gonna. Okay. We'll just pretend that we're playing PS3. That's fine. I can still change the name of this game at least. This has been a stream, all right. Oh, there we go. This might have been running in the background because I might have booted it up or something. Or maybe it just boots to this. Doesn't seem right, but whatever. Looks pretty slick though. Going directly from PS3, this looks like super fucking crisp, even though it's only 1080p. Of course, this would have been like 480p original, or 40i really originally. So, of course, that's a nice big step up. Let me just get the title right at least. I think I have a cover for this. Yeah, I guess we have that. Okay, that'll do. What a fucking shit show. Yeah, right, because this is, of course, this is still the original Xbox game So all the 2D elements are like crunchy as hell. But it's running through the Series X backwards compatibility mode. So it's all the 3D is being rendered natively. I guess this probably does render all the way up to 4K actually. But because the capture and everything, we're playing at a 1080. This we can do Cyrillic even. Alright, cool. Alright, I guess this is important for online purposes. Oh man, I played so much DOA 2 on Dreamcast. Music's nostalgic. But I haven't played DOA 2 since like fucking God knows when. Is this the game I did a costume for? No, that is Dead or Alive 5. Technically, I guess Dead or Alive 5 last round. I don't know. It was like one of the very last pieces of DLC they did before that game was, what do you call it? Sunsetted. No, this is the Xbox port of Dead or Alive 2. This came out in 2004. So post DOA 3, they released this bundle, Dead or Alive Ultimate, that had a port of the Saturn version of DOA 1 and this sort of updated version of DOA 2, which I reckon is probably based on whichever was the last like DOA 2 hardcore or whatever. But it also adds Hitomi from DOA 3. But in terms of features and everything, like the menu, this looks like very familiar from the Dreamcast version. Largest. All right, well, I mean, it's default. Only if you had... Interesting. Well, she's in the game anyway. Yeah, I guess, like, port isn't really exactly the right word for it. This is more of a remake. But the DOA 1 version in... Do this. Select Kasumi's voice. Alright. Maximum boob settings. I guess we'll just crank it up to 99 for the vintage experience. Yeah, there's no voice language option yet at this point. At some point later on, they added, I think DOA Extreme Beach Volley was actually the first one to have English and Japanese character voices. Oh yeah, that's right. Use like analog input. So let's see how this look. So we got free. Yeah, this is like bizarre for arcade sticks. So let's see what else we got. Free. Okay, this makes much more sense. Punch kick. Yeah. Let's go with this. I always love this voiceover part of the song. Select your character. So fucking good. More, I guess it's like legal shit. Alright, well, I guess we're doing story. So I'm curious, yeah, so I'm trying to think. I'm curious how the Hitomi thing. Well, it's possible that she wouldn't be in the story. Let me just. I'm curious to see, like, if I go here. Right, because you have Ein. In the Dreamcast version too, there were. You could, like, unlock Tengu, right? And. Because Hayate wasn't in until 3. Bayman? Okay. Yeah, I'm just curious how the Hitomi thing would work here, because I have DOA 3. I have played DOA 3 on this console. So I would certainly have save data for it. It's not a great concern, but I'm actually curious how that would work. But it checks out, I guess, that the unlockable characters wouldn't be in the story mode. What's up, Atomic Runner? This has been a Friday of unbelievable technical difficulties. I think we played a game and a half in the 3 hours or so since we started streaming. All right, so we don't have like too many costumes to pick from. Even this is like, it's relatively fast, right? But it's, you'd almost expect it to be more instant, but I guess it doesn't like fully make use of the Series X hard drive or anything. All right, where's my live split window? Oh, there we go. All right.
Get ready, fight!
Stages in this are so sick. It's funny, like, to see like some things being super like slick and sort of not modern per se, but like having aged very well in terms of not just looking pretty, but also like not feeling immediately dated. But for me, when I look at pretty sweet to have like 0 load times between matches though. These little story snippets are so awesome. Like, story isn't the right word for it exactly, I guess, but like little character interactions. That's right, you can do counters. But for me, when I look at this, like the text messages and the UI is like the stuff that feels the most dated, funnily enough. Obviously, in terms of the rendering techniques for the 3D and everything, like it's not current, but it's still pleasant to look at, right? Of course, the UI elements and text and stuff like that are like, they would be more sort of optimized after screen resolutions, like so it makes sense that it looks a certain way, but just like kind of the use of certain fonts and stuff. It's interesting to see like stuff like that that just sort of stands out more now. Murasama did the research. You just get to run the full version. No weirdness. That's a weird. That's a cool effect. Yeah, these little like intro bits, like I said, they didn't really do them in other PoE games after this either, as I recall. Yeah, because they don't do PoE 2. Oh, actually, they didn't probably change it in this one. I was gonna say because DOA 2 didn't distinguish between mid punch and mid kick, but I think they actually changed it in Ultimate, so it is more like 3. But I could be wrong. Was that 2 rounds? That was quick. Well, yeah, Chin and Shoulder, to be clear, like this is not being upscaled. This is rendered natively at 1080p, which is why it looks nice. This is where they first introduced. Interesting. Okay, so I guess 4 was the like. Ah, dude, sick whip suplex. So I guess 3 was the old system too. Yeah, it's been so long since I played any of these games. This is cool. Like I don't even recognize half of these stages.
Get ready, fight!
I always fucking hate Piana. That's so tiny damage for a back throw. Struggling a lot with the counters too, but fucking uneven ground, just whiffing everything. So sick though. Like the level of spectacle, I just remember very distinctly playing this game, well, the original or the Dreamcast version, and always finding it like super enjoyable to play. Like I didn't care about winning or losing. Like it was just so awesome to look at. Like the level of spectacle was just so impressive and so like beyond anything else, that it was just like always just such a cool time. You did get the kind of the demo before you updated system. Yeah. Or maybe if I did another system update or rebooted it again, like who knows if I could get it to work. Like I'm not gonna feel very motivated to like mess with it probably. But in theory, I'm definitely interested in figuring this out. Like I said, I fucking hate Pioneer. Like her moves are super uncool, and she literally spends 80% of a match with her back turned and spinning around. Yeah.
Get ready.
Alright. Knocked down. I try to block low. Nice. Okay. A little bit of life lead. Nice. Yeah, DOA is interesting. It's one of those games where when I was younger and played these games and with very little idea what was going on, I really liked them. But like as I've approached them with more of an understanding of fighting games, the idiosyncrasies of the DOA games stand out a bit more to me. It's not necessarily that I enjoy them less, but being more cognizant of what it is about them. I fucked it up. I don't remember combo throws. Being more cognizant of what it is that I don't understand or don't feel is like intuitive or comes naturally to me, makes the experience in some cases a little more awkward. And it's not an enjoyment of the game, and it's not saying that like, oh, it's only fun if you're mashing buttons. But it's got like the entire sort of concept of how the like DOA's approach to hit stun is like just completely different from like anything else. Because you can counter out of hit stun, like the concept of what is a combo and what isn't, or what is guaranteed and what isn't, changes drastically. Nice. And was every match just one round? I found that confusing. Anyway. I feel like half of the match was like, wait, did I lose 2 rounds? Did I win 2 rounds? I guess I didn't. Well, whatever. Like both on offense and defense, like your natural instincts. Okay, I'm a little bit confused about whether he's proud or not, but that's fine. Like, your natural instincts don't really apply. And that makes it, like, I don't know, I feel like it's a game... And as I mentioned before, like, the modern DOA games actually have very good tutorials that teach you how the game works and how to play. But I never, like, took the time to sort of get into it and learn it, so I have a hard... Like, I have a soft spot for DOA games. I like them. I like a lot of the characters. I used to, at least, like a lot of the character designs and costume designs and stuff. I think it's been... a lot of it was pretty... not great in 5, and a lot of it was terrible in 6. But they're making a new one, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm curious to see what that's going to be. They have sort of stated that they're doing what they themselves call a reboot of DOA and of Ninja Gaiden. So I'm assuming whatever the next DOA is, that it's not going to be DOA 7. Probably just going to be called DOA, I guess. I don't know. But it remains to be seen, like, how drastic of a departure or not is going to be. Either way, I think I enjoy the series. Like, you know, if someone asked me, you know, do I like DOA or do I dislike it? Yeah, I'd say I like it, but I haven't played it enough. I haven't played it at a, like, level of understanding where I can say that I'm, like, really into it. And it's more like, you know, I grew to like the game at a point where I didn't have any opinions, really. I didn't have a strong idea what kind of gameplay mechanics in a fighting game that I enjoy. Like, back in the day, I loved Tekken, I loved Virtua Fighter, I loved KOF, I loved Street Fighter, I loved DOA. Like, I loved any fighting game, pretty much. I loved the Pit Fighter, I liked Time Killers, I enjoyed, like, there wasn't really any fighting game that I played that I wouldn't get enjoyment out of. But then as I got a little more into it and I got, you know, developed a little bit more of a taste and a preference for what I like in a game. Games like Tekken and Soul Calibur, I kind of grew away from, even though I still like a lot of the characters and the visuals and everything. And DOA is sort of similar, except I wouldn't even say that I've grown to dislike what it's doing. It's more like ever since I've achieved that sort of level of let's call it literacy with fighting game design, I never really took the time to really explore and investigate and determine how I really feel about DOA, I guess is maybe how you could put it. But I think they're pretty cool. Well, that playthrough was pretty damn quick. Maybe we should do some survival. That was always like the fun shit. That's what I played the most back in the day. Actually, why don't we do tag battle? The highest score name. Oh yeah, we should check what's her costume 3. I guess that's like the cat suit. What was her costume 2? Oh, okay, cool. Make things up a little bit. I remember liking Ein. So this is like Hayate with his like amnesic Hayate with the karate fighting style. Sure, let's go with this. Yeah, so in this mode you always play on this stage.
Get ready, fight!
Or maybe there's a few different stages, but I think it might always be this stage. And if you hit into the yeah, hitting with down attacks spawns pickups. I think this, like, some items are unique for characters. And I want to say if you get like the prototype Xbox, there's certain items that can drop that I think gives you costume, not custom, unlocks. I forget. But I think it was very similar in 3. I think the killing blow will also like drop an item, but you can kind of milk item drops. Get down attacks. Whoa! The counter came out a lot later. Right, I think you get a bit of life back from KO. And if you drop more items. Okay, let's see if I can... Is it? Oh, there we go. All 3 is at least a tag throw. I was gonna say, do I swap by pressing all 3? That at least worked. Yeah, the names are not in the UI indeed, and I always hate that. Ah! There we go. Oh, I didn't even get health from that. Okay, I figured the onigiri would be health for sure. It was not. And the lack of names is something they did, I think, in DOA 4. It just... It's always really weird for me. Okay, so the other does get life back. I thought that was probably the case. Alright, well, fall up to I. It's not a very good run, but... I remember when I played this on Dreamcast at some point. I had like a disk read error. And like some character didn't load. So I could like milk items for a lot longer than I was supposed to. Oh, that didn't actually give me health. Good tag throw. It's a little confusing, like the food items don't heal you, but then the daggers do. Ooh, that's... Oh, I think that... I'm sure if that render quite looked right. Good fight. Alright, I think we can do better. Collection mode. I don't know what we collected. Maybe we can look at all the fruits and shit we collected. I'm not sure.
Get ready.
It's interesting. I wonder if this is any different because of the capture or the version we're playing or whatever. But like a lot of the colors look very muted. Could just be like 2004 color grading. Cash throw. Stick lipstick there. Can I collect it? Nope. Alright, we got some French fries. Ouch! I didn't mean to do that. Or that. The Jimmy Poopins. I'll hydrate when I can. The cool thing about this mode is also a bit of a struggle. Just that there's like no downtime. Yeah, so whenever you're in danger reach, you'll see you get a little point. Oh, that's 100k for the burger. Big burger puntos. You get a little point number for each hit. And I guess if you get double reach or double danger, whatever it says. Get the tag throw. Can I just... Okay, I was trying to just tag out. Anyway, I get more points that way. Oh, no. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, every character has their own little symbol. I knew that Ein had the shuriken. I was a little confused about John Lee having the french fries. Holy shit, we barely got any items. That was pathetic. We gotta try again.
Get ready, fight!
Kind of funny, you see the score, like, just by surviving, points going up. But of course, it's going up pretty slow compared to the actual points you gain from achieving something, anything. Onigiri. Probably trying to tag out. Not wait until you're like critical health. Oh my god, how did my catch throw whiff there? I guess technically she was crouching. You maybe have to be standing for that to connect. Oh yeah, you can do the stomp. Yeah. Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if I like countered him and he died or something, but guess not. So yeah, one thing that like specifically talking about the counter system and kind of what it means for hit stun and all the rules is that because you have like in the middle of a string, you're still effectively in a mix-up. Or they are, I suppose. Meaning, just because you're hitting them doesn't mean that they have to just get hit or block or whatever. Like, even if they were getting, well, not comboed exactly, but getting hit by your strings, you can still kind of mix things up. And defend yourself by countering or attempting a counter. But for that to work, sorry, I can't really speak coherently while I'm trying to survive here. Like, you have to be able to, like, if you had only like fully linear strings, if you do like a punch and that was always followed by a mid kick, then as soon as you land punch, like the opponent would know to counter the kick. So to account for that, like every string has to have variations that kind of lead into different stuff. And that's not typically the case in other 3D fighters. Like, yeah, you might have some strings with some variations, but in DOA, like every single string has different variations, and strings are generally, for similar reasons, longer. Like Tekken has the 10 strings, which are kind of a unique, odd little thing. But for the most part, in Tekken, strings aren't super long, and in VF especially, strings are very rarely more than 3 hits. But here, like, strings are often, you know, 5 or 6 or even 7 hits. I'm dead. Oop, I'm alive. Yeah, see, like, he's got these weird mix-ups. Keep thinking that's a danger thing, but nice, got some health. Should be a counter. I guess it wasn't, but health, but I'll take it. Oh, okay. The reach. Nice. Wall reach. Nice. Would have been a nice time to tag there, but just getting the KO got me some life back. It's always scary when they both have a lot of health. I mean, for obvious reasons, but I was trying to tag out, but like you tag by pressing all 3 buttons, but that input can overlap with a bunch of other moves. But yeah, like whenever you kind of successfully get things to a point where one of them has like not that much health, feels a lot safer. Because you can at least like kill one of them off relatively quickly. I'm dead. Oh yeah, could have countered that, but well, I might not have been able to actually because of the counter hit thing. Oh, that's intense. Oh yeah, let me hydrate. DJ Beats, hello. Yes, I've played Street Fighter 6 a fair amount. It's a very good game. Yeah, I can't read chat when I'm playing a very intense game that has 0 downtime. Mudusama, I'm gonna have to respectfully decline your collection lore request. I'm gonna have to save that for another time. I'll refund you the points, don't worry about that. I'm just not really in any state to do anything like that. This has been such a like how do I even describe this stream? It's been nutty as hell. Also, it's like fucking scorching hot in here and I'm dying. Yeah, this has been like by far the most complete mess of a stream I think I've had in a very, very long time. Yeah, DOA 2 did work. Okay, yeah, so this was literally a collection of items you pick up. Interesting. I don't remember if this was a thing in the original 2, but it probably was. Yeah, so the items, as you can see, they're kind of character themed to a degree. Some of them are, at least. So I don't think these are all random. I think some of them will drop specifically based on who you're playing, but maybe some of them aren't. But yeah, there's some like super rare drops. Like I mentioned, the prototype Xbox, like the giant X-shaped silver thing. I want to say if you pick that up, you immediately unlock a costume. But I could be misremembering, but I think that's a thing. I haven't played this in like 20 years, so... Have I only been playing this for 28? I mean, I guess most games, if I play them for 28 minutes, we've spent a considerable amount of time in versus screens, loading screens, that kind of thing. Playing tag survival in this is just like super intense. And they've kept the survival stuff in most, if not all, of the sequels, but for some reason, like, there was just something about it in this game that I thought was like... I don't remember offhand if the tag mode is in all the later ones too. But yeah, it's just like such a super fun, like smooth, seamless, like such a basic idea. But it just works so well and it's just so fun. Like just the fact that you have like, because the tag mode, especially the way it works, is like, you know, you KO one opponent and their partner comes in and they get a new partner kind of in the back. So there's like always this stream of multiple new opponents. I don't know, it's just super cool, and I wish I wish other games did like fun survival modes like that. I remember Mark of the Wolves on Neo Geo actually had a pretty fun survival mode where you can also like I think literally it's similar. You can like OTG downed opponents and they will drop like time pickups and life pickups and stuff like that. Drop tag in 6. Yeah, I didn't remember it being a thing. But I'm surprised if it was even around for that long, honestly. Yeah, DOA 6 is like a very unfortunate game in a lot of ways. Like, it wasn't terrible, but like it was just not, I don't know. I feel like it started off on the wrong foot with kind of like a unclear idea of what it wanted to be. Had some pretty, even by DOA standards, not great monetization things. Story mode is a total mess. It wasn't very feature rich, and I don't know. It had some system changes to like with the new meters and stuff that I don't know was received super well. Like on a basic level, it played well and it looked nice, but it just like it didn't seem like DOA 5 had been supported for so long and it had this like long ongoing thing that by the time, you know, to take a current example, Street Fighter 6 coming out now feels like a generational leap over Street Fighter 5. It feels like when Street Fighter 6 was first announced and or leaked, you know, at that time it might have felt, I certainly felt that like, you know, I'm not in a rush to replace Street Fighter 5. But since the kind of unveiling last summer and like the immediate buzz and excitement for Street Fighter 6 made it such that by the time it came out, like a vast majority of people are very excited and eager to move on from Street Fighter 5 to Street Fighter 6. And I would say a vast majority of people playing Street Fighter 6 either never played Street Fighter 5 or haven't played it in like 5 years. And I think with DOA 5 and 6, it was like DOA 5's end of life kind of announcement. Like the time period from like DOA 5 going from having been actively supported to no longer getting new content to DOA 6 being announced to DOA 6 being released was like pretty short, and DOA 6 didn't really seem to justify its existence the same way that something like Street Fighter 6 is doing or that Tekken 8 will be doing. So like right off the bat, I don't feel like there was a lot of excitement for 6. And yeah, it had a very sterile kind of feel to it, in a lot of ways. That was, I think, you know, to a degree, we've talked about this in the past too, like they certainly, on some level, in terms of marketing at least, wanted to sort of, what's the word? Not sterilize, but like, clean up, I guess. There's a word I'm looking for. I don't know. The image sort of the brand of DOA, and I think that's like fair shakes. I don't necessarily agree with it or think it's an improvement, but like I can respect the idea of wanting to do that, but I think the way they went about it was very half-baked, where they kind of removed aspects of silliness and goofiness and fun and spectacle in all manner of ways, really, and replaced it with like nothing, kind of sanitize. Yeah, I guess probably the word I was looking for. And yeah, and that's kind of what I mean, like regardless of the specifics of it, because like even 5 had been doing like did the exact same thing at launch in terms of like the character designs and the costumes and stuff like that. It was very sort of because I remember that when 5 first came out, like I thought like, holy shit, like why are every character dressed in like super boring everyday street clothes? Like that was kind of what the game was. But after like a year or so, they started going a little crazier with the costume designs for the DLC stuff. They did the Halloween design stuff. They added a bunch of like swimsuit costumes and whatever else. Like, and I think that's what DOA should be. That's like, have fun with it. Like, embrace being a goofy, fun time playing dress up. Like even back on PS1, though, you have like 17 costumes for Tina and Cosme or whatever. To me, that aspect is like core to the DNA of Dead or Alive. And 5 didn't really embrace it like off the bat, but it feels like they quite quickly sort of course corrected, and a lot could be said about the sort of pricing schemes and DLC stuff. But for better or for worse, like DOA 5 was supported for a long time with a lot of content, and they put a costume in it that I designed, so I can't complain too much, obviously. So when 6 was first announced and when it first came out, like it was kind of the same song and dance of like, hey, let's sanitize the image of DOA. Let's just like, this is a professional esports video game or whatever. Like the stages were kind of boring. Like it had this sort of veneer of sanitized, sterile, corporate friendly boringness that seems so utterly at odds with what DOA is. That like I think it alienated fans, and I don't think it attracted anyone else. To a degree, I'm not saying like everyone hated it, but I know for sure that a lot of fans were like kind of put off by it. And I think like part of why I think it's like, even though on some level I can understand and respect the idea of wanting to maybe sanitize the image or whatever you would want to call it, like changing something about how you market your product in an effort to reach a wider audience. Like I can't you know, hate on that on a very, very conceptual level, but I think the way they went about it was ill-advised, because I think it feels to me like they were kind of attempting to, I was gonna say treat the symptom rather than the cause, but I don't even think that's accurate. Like I think it was some fucking Don Quixote windmill quest that they were on, really, because I don't know what the idea was. Like, sure, you have a lot of, I don't know, Twitter warriors and people on Reddit or whatever the fuck who might bemoan the character designs or the counter system, whatever it is, like people hating on DOA or saying it's not for them or whatever it is. But I feel like attempting, I wouldn't say necessarily that like I feel like they were attempting to cater to those people, but to a degree it would seem, it's hard to read it any other way, I guess, like by making costume designs more modest or whatever, you know, example you want to point to, like that overall kind of sanitization is hard to read as anything but a response to criticism. But I feel like a lot of those kinds of criticisms, not all of it, but I think a lot of it is either not necessarily made in good faith, or it's made by people who aren't necessarily going to be interested in the game even if those things were to change. As evidenced, I guess, by the fact that DOA 6 didn't do super well. I don't know. I mean, obviously that's, I don't know. I don't have the facts. I don't have the data. I don't have the numbers. But like, yeah, you say I don't know anyone who was a fan of older DOA games. Like old fans didn't like 6. Yeah, I feel like old fans, all old DOA fans, whether you were a fan of one game or the other, could sort of come together in finding something to dislike about DOA 6. Whether it's the meter system, whether it's other gameplay mechanics, whether it's the costume designs, whether it's the stages, whether it's the music, whether it's the lack of modes, whether it's the weird story, like whatever it is. And yeah, Gundam, I think you're kind of that's kind of what I'm getting at too. Like, Yeah, characters missing too, for that matter, of course. DOA in particular, because you could say that about anything, right? Like something that's being criticized, by catering to those who criticize it, you run the risk kind of chasing an imagined potential audience that might even not be there. And I think something like DOA, by being this kind of, in my mind, unabashedly juvenile sort of thing, where like the it's not, I mean, obviously the sort of the titillation kind of aspect of it, I think, is like the most prominent or most like obvious aspect of it. But I think it goes beyond that, just like the level of spectacle. Like when I first became a fan of DOA, like that didn't even register for me. Like I thought it was really stupid when people made fun of DOA for being like the titty game for losers or whatever. I was like, I didn't even barely understand what they were talking about, because like to me, DOA was like the sick ass stage where you punch someone through a wall and they go tumbling down a mountain and like the craziest shit happens. You do fucking super Izuna drop command grabs. Like that's the image I had of DOA. So I think like that aspect has always been at least as big a part of it, but it's less objectionable, I suppose. So it doesn't stand out as much to people who have a bone to pick with it. But in any case, like I think DOA for most of its life was pretty confident in what it was, and you know, I feel like that's a very common thread in discussing these kinds of things, where it's like, regardless of what something is and what something is trying to be, being embarrassed about what you are is, to me, like just a non-starter. Like you have to be confident and convinced about what you're doing if you're going to convince anybody else. And I think DOA 6 didn't feel like it had a new confident image. It felt like it was embarrassed about its previous or current image and tried to shy away from it in a way that, again, alienated old fans, and to me did not even make much of a perceivable effort, let alone succeed in attracting any new fans. It was grindy, but also like part of that is because there wasn't much there. I think that the challenge mode or whatever it was called, I don't remember, it was called like DOA mode or something. I thought that was kind of neat. As far as like single player stuff to do, pressing buttons and having fun, like, you know, it wouldn't impress anyone today. I don't know that it impressed anyone back then, but it was like an attempt at a fun way for a player to press buttons and do cool stuff without the pressures of fighting other people. And I always think that's a good idea. Yeah, Atomic Runner, like, I feel like DOA 6, especially with its, like, it had a very short life, and during that short life, they made various desperate attempts at alternate kind of monetization schemes. Cool, the game crashed. We're just, everything is going great today. Just everything is great. Okay. I don't know what happened there, but fine. DOA 6 absolutely felt like
Interesting.
it, the bean counters figured out the circumstances under which it could happen, and that was it. And when it couldn't turn enough of a profit over time, they killed it pretty fucking quickly. I want to say that the last DLC came out like 10-11 months after launch, and that was it. And it was to me, it was really sad, because it really felt like, you know, it doesn't, aside from the biggest games that stick around for a long time, like even NRS games and stuff, like having a game come out, having like a year of DLC, and that's it. Like that shouldn't be thought of as like a complete failure. But the reason why I think it felt that way with DOA 6 was that not only that DOA 5 had gone on for like, I don't know, it came out in what, 2012, and the final DLC came out in like early 2018 or something like that. You know, it started on PS3 and 360, eventually came to PC in kind of a iffy version. There was a PS Vita update, and that then got sort of ported back to consoles. Then it came out on PS4. Like, they did the free-to-play version. Like, they did a lot with it. So the sort of cadence of DLC and updates to DOA 6 really made it feel like it was a slow and steady kind of drip feed that was like sort of setting the stage for this, you know, long running thing. And then instead, like, before they could like even pick up steam, they're like, you know what, never mind, we're quitting. So I'm very curious to see what sort of lessons Team Ninja and Koei Tecmo might have learned from DOA 6 with the new game, whenever that's coming out. It's real, it's a thing they're making, they have announced it, but we haven't like heard anything beyond that. PS3 scene in OBS is cursed. Yeah, might be it. Well, everything is a complete mess tonight. I had a great time playing DOA. I've had fun whenever things have actually worked. But I think tonight's stream is just fully cursed, and honestly, I don't want to tempt fate and push things further. I think I sealed my fate when I, at the beginning of the stream, said that we usually cover 4 to 6 games. I knew in my heart of hearts, like, that's I think we cover 4 or 5 if we're lucky. And just by invoking the number 6, the elder gods are like hell you are. And we can play 2 games if we're lucky. Yes, I'm sorry, Electro Altruism. Tonight's stream has been incredibly cursed. And we're just gonna have to try to make up for it next time. When OBS crashed and everything exploded, I was millimeters away from just saying, you know what, fuck it, let's just take a mulligan or whatever, let's just try again next week. I think we can still put this to the books. Friday, or like next week, is Midsummer. Friday off. I'm probably gonna just need a day off, so I'm probably not doing any extra stream because of that. I was considering it for a minute, but we'll see if how we, I don't know, do a bigger size Saturday stream next weekend or something. I don't know. I'll think about it. I got a whole week. No, I try to stream from my PS3 is the main problem, Electro Ultras. To make a long story short, something stopped responding, OBS crashed. It's a whole thing. It's a nightmare. Nothing works. But yes, whoa, okay, I try to open the spreadsheet and I instead closed the spreadsheet. But yes, Dead or Alive 2 Ultimate has been played, so we can mark that off the list. And today is still 2023-06-16. And yes, that puts us at 204. So I think that's 2 completed games. I didn't mark off Vampire Hunter because that was such a weird whole thing. But yeah, 68.92%. And yeah, 204 out of 296 games. We are, since last stream, I think we've added more games than we've played. But that's how it goes sometimes. Frankly, I don't have patience for any more technical mishaps. I apologize for this stream being such a mess, but I hope you guys were able to enjoy yourselves at least somewhat. I think I was somewhat able, but maybe not really. I had fun when I could play games. I was very frustrated when I couldn't. So we're gonna cut a little shorter today than usual, but again, I just do not want to tempt fate. I think I was already very on the fence, and when DOA 2 just crashed, I'm like, that's a sign. I cannot take it any other way. It's a sign. But I will be back tomorrow for the regularly scheduled Saturday stream. Speaking of regular schedules, Formally, my Saturday schedule still says that I stream from 1 p.m. I've been thinking lately that I want to reshuffle my schedule a little bit now that I'm getting nice summer weather and stuff. Like I'm usually making plans to do more stuff on Saturdays, and I used to stream in the afternoon, but I found that a little bit awkward. But then I also wanted to stream earlier to have a little more time to do a full stream, and then also have movie night time, or like rather time to like prep and make dinner in between. So I've been thinking of maybe doing Saturday streams later and possibly moving movie nights to Fridays. I'm not really sure, but I think for the time being, like realistically, regardless of what I say about a formal schedule, the 1 p.m. Saturday streams is actually currently kind of awkward because it doesn't quite give me enough time to do much in the morning, and it doesn't leave me enough time to do something afterwards either. So I'm probably going to start doing them a little later, as I already kind of have been doing for the past couple of weeks. So we'll see. I might throw a poll up or something on Discord if people want to have some input. But I'm not sure. Most likely I'll just push it a little later, and we'll start probably sometime in the afternoon. I don't know what we're doing for stream tomorrow. We might continue Mortal Kombat 2. We should get back to GameSpawn before too long. Maybe we'll chill with some Street Fighter 6. I'm actually not sure. I guess Mortal Kombat 2 and Street Fighter 6 is not a bad idea. Just some make good fighting games after this disaster of a viewer's choice stream. I'll think about it, and I'll let you guys know tomorrow, and I'll see you guys then. Thank you very much for hanging out. Before we wrap up here, let me figure out who is streaming and see if we can go on a little raid. What's going on? Let's see. Aquas is streaming. I feel like I haven't rated Aquas in like 5 million years. Aquas is a cool person doing a bunch of driving stuff, streaming Dirt Rally. Not my cup of tea exactly, but Aquas is cool, so I'm sure it's a great time. And live vicariously through others and play games that we wouldn't play ourselves, so that's always cool, right? In any case, let's go say hi to Aquas. Hope to see you guys back tomorrow. I hope I'm in a better shape. I hope my setup is in a better shape. I hope things go better. I'll see you guys around. Thanks for watching. Bye.